Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
Teddy, we're live. How excited are you? I'm Lawrence
Very.
Presman. He's Teddy Covers. You're all watching WagerTalk Today. Shout out to all you guys for being in the chat room before I even woke up. Thank you for that. Teddy, Steve Merril on Coastal Carolina versus Troy, Alabama versus Arkansas. And we're going to talk a little bit New Orleans Saints against the Eagles. Dave Sharapan at the bottom of the hour, and of course Ralph Michaels at the end of the hour for what is always an incredible and informative section. Teddy, lead story. Washington Redskins, they did it, and they played great. Their defense was outstanding. Philadelphia's offense is completely out of sync. There's no balance. They need to find a running game. And now we have the Giants and Washington tied at the top of the NFC East, with the Giants holding that tiebreaker. It's getting interesting, man.
I mean, it's never not been interesting, but the one thing we're seeing, because as a division race, no team has ever been a significant and clear favorite in the NFC East. What we're seeing now is two teams actually playing pretty good football. And Washington, what happened yesterday, where they fell behind early and then made a concerted effort to get back in the game and then found a way to steal it. That's been their MO all year. You've been betting against Washington first half, you made a whole bunch of money. You've been betting on Washington second half, you made a whole bunch of money. And they did it again against the Steelers yesterday. And of course, the Giants all of a sudden, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, because there have been signs all year. The defense has been there all year. The running game has gotten significantly better. But now the defense has been able to take over games. And their schedules ease a little bit. But Giants and Washington football team, both in the mediocre category, not in the bottom feeder category anymore. And that gives us an interesting race down the stretch in the NFC East.
He's Teddy Covers. I'm the Prez. Steve Merril joining us. Let's get straight to it. Steve, first off, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We're having a great December, and had the over in the Buffalo 49er game, the other Monday night game last night, so that cashed. So now 10-2 in December, so going well so far.
Nice, dude. Not to rain on your parade. I had the under in the first game, lost my shit. Then I had the over in the second game, lost my shit again. 2 fourth downs, both stuffed at the goal line. If that fumble was not recovered, I don't think that game goes over. But you are right, Steve. You are rolling, dude. 7-2 college football run, 6-1 college basketball record so far on the entire season, and 10-2 in September. And guess what, everybody? This man is the $2 Tuesday over at sportsmemo.com. You got a 5% college football play up.
Head college over basketball, college basketball.
And I screwed up. It's at WagerTalk.com. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Steve Merril's the $2 Tuesday. Let's go, brother. Coastal Carolina, minus 12.5 versus Troy. What an outstanding performance by Coastal last week. I bet against them. I was wrong. Outright winner. Now they're minus 12.5 versus Troy. 51.5 is the total. Where are we going in this game?
Yeah, just a couple things. Rocky at SportsMemo's got the college football $2, so there is a college football. But yeah, the college basketball play tonight is my first 5% of the season. 6-1 start, and this is the first time I've had a 5%er. So I was like, let's make it $2 Tuesday because I want a lot of people to get this strong best bet. And that's at WagerTalk.com, Prez, as you mentioned. By the way, I also played against Coastal Carolina on this show last week, but I did not lose because they didn't play that game. That matchup was scratched. If you guys remember, we had the a Liberty Coastal game here. And Teddy, I was right. It did go to 7.5. You said it might not get any higher than 7. And it looked like it was heading back to 6.5 after the show. But of course, Liberty got the COVID outbreak, including their starting quarterback the day after on Wednesday, and it shut up to 11 or 12 before they scratched the game. I did not get involved with the BYU matchup. I thought it was a terrible scheduling spot for BYU, and in hindsight, it obviously was. They had to go there on just a couple days' notice and travel. We don't talk a lot about home field advantage, but I think that was a road disadvantage, one of the biggest ones we've seen this season just because of the situational setup. So who knows, is Coastal really that good still? And I'm not sure. What I do know is this is a terrible scheduling spot against a pretty good defensive Troy team. Going from being a double-digit home dog to being a double-digit road favorite is always something that catches my eye. I think Troy is worth a look here, catching the double digits in what could be a pure play against a Coastal this week.
Let me ask you this, because certainly Coastal played a heck of a game against BYU, and BYU did. The Cougars did not bring their A game. Certainly the second half, it really showed. I thought the travel spot that you were just mentioning. My question is Troy good enough? You talk about their defense stepping up. Their offense hasn't impressed me one iota this season, and they're going to have to score points against that Coastal defense in order to cover this number. I think the Trojans' offense is capable of putting up, I'm not going to say points in bunches, putting up enough to cover this number.
Yeah, that's what we always look for. When we talk about these big underdogs, and we've talked about it in other shows that we've done together, Teddy's, you always want some offensive firepower for that backdoor cover potential. And as you said, Troy, not a great offensive team, yet they still average 7 yards per pass. They still throw 66% completions, 26 points a game. So I think they have enough offense to keep it close. And if they're down by 17 late, to get that meaningless touchdown. But I don't even know if Coastal's that great. I mean, yes, they give up 17 a game. They give up 5.3 yards per play against teams that have allowed that average 5.8. They've played a very weak schedule overall, but so has Troy. And once again, I just don't know what to make of that BYU win last week. I really think that was more of the Cougars having an off game maybe than Coastal being as great as they looked.
Steve Merril, everybody. $2 Tuesday handicapper over at WagerTalk. 5% college basketball play. And he is 6-1 this college basketball season. Steve, I as one of the co-founders of WagerTalk, I have access to all the plays. And you have really you've been riding Alabama, if I recall. This past week, outstanding effort against LSU, and a great spot for them, too. LSU really was their first loss last year, messed up their season. It was a revenge game. They really laid the smackdown. Now they're minus 31. Close to 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and a field goal. Does that bother you? I mean, this team could put that up in the first half.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed out that I've been riding Alabama, Prez, because I have. I actually had them as a best bet 2 weeks ago in that Auburn game. My power ratings made them 27. They were only 24.5, even 24 once the COVID news came out about Saban, which I thought was an overreaction. That was also, don't forget, a revenge spot for him. So not only did they beat LSU last week as a revenge game, but they beat Auburn the week before, a huge rivalry revenge game. And this is very similar to the Coastal game we just talked about. Yes, Alabama is the much better team, but it's a pure play against spot for me this week. Plus, they have the look ahead to Florida in the SEC championship game next week. I mean, this is the ultimate textbook example of a sandwich game. Normally, I don't get in front of Alabama. I have not played against them all season, but I think this is the week, if you're going to do so, that you do it. Line has held steady from start all weeks at 31, somewhat key number. Really hasn't moved at all. I've seen very little action on this game. Once again, I know, Teddy, you're going to say, can Arkansas keep it close? And that is the concern. But this looks like a bad situational setup for Alabama. If I'm going to play against them once, and I haven't all year, it would be this week. And I take the 31 with the hold your nose, big home underdog. Alabama's got much bigger games on deck, and they just came off 2 big wins as well.
So my biggest concern here has nothing to do with the Alabama side, everything to do with the Arkansas side, because Arkansas let it all hang out on the field last week in Missouri and ended up losing that game, 50-48 on a last-second field goal after they thought they won it. And they did it without Felipe Franks at QB. A surprise announcement before kickoff that Franks wasn't going to play. So first I want to ask, is Franks healthy enough to go this week? Because I think you don't want the frosh against Alabama's defense. And 2, if the Hogs couldn't stop Missouri, how the heck are they going to stop Alabama?
Yeah, and I don't think they do stop Alabama. And what you're hoping for here is that they get enough points to stay within 4.5 touchdowns. And I do like the fact they put up some points last week, and that's the one positive I guess you could take away from that loss. But yeah, the situational setup, those narrow losses are always a concern. You figure that they should be focused to play the best team in the nation. What I like to do in these early Tuesday segments with you guys each week is kind of look at situational plays. Very, unlikely I'll probably get to the window with Arkansas, but that'd be the only way I would play this one. It'd be Arkansas or pass, and we definitely want to keep an eye on the injury situation as we get closer to Saturday.
Steve Merril, everyone. And Steve, I got a question to you about that game as well. Listen, I hear Marco talk about sandwiches. I see him eating them all the time. I mean, Marco and sandwiches are like, ice cream and me, if you will. Bottom line really is, in these type of spots, I got to expect Bama to come out really fast. I think Bama first half might be a play here. We know they're way better than Arkansas. We know they could name their score. If we know they're going to be looking ahead to Florida, lay the smackdown in the first half and then, pull the reins back.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think, this is also a game. And what the nice thing about playing first halves or waiting to play Arkansas, for example, in the second half, as Teddy said, those injury concerns, the letdown factor, watch the first two quarters, see if Arkansas has any chance of moving the ball in the second half, maybe against some Alabama backups. And then you pull the trigger on a second half play on Arkansas as well. I'm checking the first half line here. It's 18.5. The game line is 31. So you're talking about 18.5 and then 12.5. So obviously, the odds makers are thinking the same thing, and you're paying a premium. And as of now, you're getting less than 2 touchdowns likely for the second half. So that's the trade-off. But I would think Alabama takes their foot off the gas more in the second half, especially with the championship game on deck. And obviously, if there's a hangover from that narrow loss for Arkansas, you might see it early on.
Yeah, it's an Alabama team, Lawrence. Lawrence, let me just jump in real quick, because Alabama is unique in college football because they were such a monster against the spread in the first half. They were laying 30 every game. They were laying 17 every first half. And they've been covering literally, 3 or 4 years. You played Alabama recently in every game in the first half, and you catch 70, 75% of the time. So what we've seen, I think it's the last 2 seasons, we've seen a discernible difference, a notable difference, where the bookmakers are really attaching a premium price to backing Alabama in the first half. That's why the number that we're talking about in a game that's totaled lined at 31, where you're laying, well more than half of that with Alabama first half here. The value there has come and gone when it comes to, from a value standpoint, when it comes to Crimson Tide first halves.
Yeah, except I bet them minus 17 against LSU last game, and they covered the first half bet. I bet the first half bet the game before, they covered that as well. I've been riding this first half bet. So I understand that from a mathematical value perspective, 31, it should be 15, 16, and it's not. But it's money every week. Anyway,
it's what
Steve,
they do. Yes.
Yeah. And Jones is just outstanding. I mean, his deep ball is gorgeous. Steve, speaking of gorgeous, let's get back to you. Saints minus 6.5, 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Teddy shaking his head. Teddy, you shaking your head is like when I bother my mother. Nothing gives me greater pleasure. Let's go. Eagles, Saints. Eagles are a total mess. Peterson, 2 years removed from his Super Bowl. He could end up being fired at the end of the season. As I've been saying all along, it's offensive line issues predominantly. Wentz is just getting beat up. Hurts came in, and look, he's not going to be a superstar quarterback. 45.5 is the total. Steve, I'm really curious where you're going to go in this game.
Yeah, look, I have no love for the Eagles right now, but this is another one of those situational plays that jumped out to me as I'm scanning the card on Monday night. The first thing I look for early in the week are these situational, really letdown spots for teams. And obviously, Coastal and Alabama looking huge flat spots as double-digit road favorites, as we've discussed. Here we have a full touchdown road favorite in the New Orleans Saints. Continue to win even without Drew Brees, back-to-back road wins at Denver, at Atlanta. Let's just scratch that Denver win. I mean, Denver did not have a quarterback on the roster for that game, and they completed one pass with a practice squad wide receiver Hinton at quarterback. So really the last win, Atlanta, 21-16, a decent win on the road. But now it's their third straight road game in 3 weeks, something we don't see much. And it's their fifth road game out of the last 7 overall. They have Kansas City, lo and behold, on deck at home next week. The Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champs. Talk about sandwiches here. It's the lunchtime hour, Lauren, so that's why I'm doing sandwiches, I guess. This is a huge sandwich spot, let down. So the question becomes, of course, can the Eagles keep it close? They've scored 17 or less in 4 straight games. Their passing offense has been atrocious all year. I don't like backing teams like that to get the backdoor cover, but it does look like Jalen Hurts might be in there this week. They put him in the second half last week. That could be the spark. That could be the catalyst we need, and we'll see what happens. So once again, I use this actually as my free play on Wager Talk right now with some analysis. You can get it there. Not sure it's going to make my best bet ticket, but once again, it'd be Philadelphia or pass for me in this terrible situational spot for New Orleans.
So the Saints have been in a fair few bad situational spots in non-Drew Brees games over the last 2 years. They're 8-0 straight up, 8-0 against the spread without Brees behind center. All right, they've been consistently undervalued without Drew Brees as their quarterback. Last year, obviously, it was Teddy Bridgewater. This year, it's been Taysom Hill. But all they've done is win games and cover point spreads. And I keep hearing this narrative like Jalen Hurts is a spark. Jalen Hurts is a spark. If you watched Hurts play last week, he was hopeless. And he completed a 4th and 18 pass. And all of a sudden, oh, Jalen Hurts is a spark. He was hopeless. He looked like a rookie QB behind the same bad offensive line that Carson Wentz has. What's your take on those two situations? A, Hurts being a rookie QB against an elite defense, and B, the Saints continuing to cover numbers, every number, when Drew Brees doesn't play.
Yeah, no question, it's a concern. Once again, that's why this game very well will probably not make my best bet ticket. It's a situational setup, though, where I would only want to be on Philadelphia or pass. But, it's hard, as I said, to make a case for the Eagles or that offense. It's been atrocious all year. So I think the one question mark, the X factor that maybe could help is if Hurts comes out and plays better than expected. But I don't like uncertainty. There's a lot of other games, I'll be looking at on Sunday, and that's probably enough to keep me off this one. But I still want nothing to do with New Orleans in the scheduling spot. And you're right, Teddy, they have stepped up in other spots, but I even consider last week a divisional game in Atlanta as one of those spots. And then next week, Kansas City, the biggest game they've had all season, at least, from an opponent standpoint. Just can't have your A game each and every week, whether college or pro. If you're going to have an off week, if it's going to be a spot where they don't step up, you have to figure this is a likely candidate.
Steve Merril, everyone. Awesome stuff, Steve. We love having you Tuesday, your regular spot on Wager Talk Today. And guys, I don't know if you know this, but Steve is our backup host. Just COVID has not been kind to you, Steve, because I'm stuck here.
I'm ready to go, Prez. I'm ready to go whenever possible as the backup host.
Steve,
pick doesn't work with the headset, Teddy. It fell right out.
With this funny personality all of a sudden. Steve, I want you to go, like, flat out. I'm still trying to talk Vivian into a ski trip in a week. So if God willing that works, you'll be taking my spot for a few days. Anyway, we've promoted the crap out of you. You're the $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. College basketball 5% play, 6-1 this season. Get the hell out of here. Jam-packed show ahead of us, everyone. We're right back. Yeah, we all see the pick. You're super cool, dude. I mean, no one's cooler than you.
I'm about to cut this, Prez, so this might be your last chance. So let's get it going for you right here. I'm hosting. I got to look good.
Teddy, they're my guns. Anything you
It's not a secret how much free quality information Wager Talk, Sports Memo, and the Gold Sheet produce. And next up, we're giving out the Wager Talk College Basketball Guide. This might be the most informative collection of sports betting info we've ever produced. We're covering returning starters, offensive, defensive, and tempo rankings, recruiting rankings, head coaching info and background, and so much more. Even if you are the casual basketball fan, head over to the Ralph Michaels page and download this amazing guide for free.
It's time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. A little recap of what happened in the betting world last night. Well, bad beat. I don't know if I'm going to call the Steelers money line bad beat, but they were up 14-0 early. They were minus 5.5 in the game. They were minus 270 on the money line. Pittsburgh can't run the football. That's been their dirty little secret all year. And Washington kept doing what they've been doing all year, falling behind early and rallying back. Yeah, I'm not calling it a bad beat. Nonetheless, Well, use it in the bad beat segment. Steelers -5.5, -270 on the money line. They had their chances. They did not take advantage of them. Bad bets. Well, let's see. The wise guys were all over the 49ers last night. I mean, all over them. San Fran opened +2.5. They closed -1.5. The wise guys were not right about San Francisco last night. Buffalo pretty much wire to wire in that one. Bad for books. Well, we saw a couple of big chalk wins in college hoops. When the big chalk comes through, the public tends to do fairly well. Arizona -23 against Northern Arizona. They won 96-53. Oregon's looked real good. They've impressed me in early season play. -14 against Eastern Washington. They won 69-52. So a couple of big chalk wins in college hoops. Not great results for the house. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books from Monday night. Back to you, Prez. We have a loaded show down the stretch today on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Great stuff, Teddy. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. JR, Armando, Johnny Outlaw, Adam, Jim Tepe. We love having you. Jay Claxton, Big Daddy, Roulette God, and on and on. Adam Squires, etc. Davy Jones. Guys, you're the best. I'm not going to ask for likes today. I'm not going to ask for comments after the show has been archived. I feel like I'm doing it, Teddy, every single day ad nauseum. I think we should have like breathers. Like maybe you ask.
That's a breather. Sure. So in asking, the show's always going to be free. All right. We're never going to charge. Hopefully we give you good info, entertaining info every single day, and quality info. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. And the comments when the show gets archived on YouTube really help with our ratings and rankings. The number one thing I'm going to say is tell a friend. That's all we ask. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch us. And there's my little shtick, Prez. Back to you.
Okay, brother. Listen, as we said, it's $2 Tuesdays, Sports Memo, and a Wager Talk, guys. Check that out. And Teddy, I got a quick story for you. I'm going off topic. I'm sure Joe will put up a graph. Anyway, long story. I'm going to try. Yes, Teddy. If it means anything, Teddy, and your life-changing event yet. Anyway, bottom line, Vivian and I last Tuesday were on YouTube. We Googled John Oliver. We pulled up a John Oliver show, and it was about psychics. He did a 20-minute piece on exposing these people like John Edwards who speak to the dead. And he showed how they speak to the dead and the whole process. You know, it's called cold reading. And they did this whole piece where you say to someone, you know, I'm feeling an M, and then the person doesn't move, and you're like, no, wait, turn the M around, it's a W. No, wait, turn it to the side, it's an E. So they did this whole routine. We were laughing hysterically. I had some people over on Saturday night. So I turned to this girl, Stephanie, and I'm like, I need to give you a reading. And I said to her, I'm psychic. I didn't know this, but I've heard voices in my head for years, and I realize I talk to dead people. So I'm going to give you a reading, and I'm going to conjure up somebody from your past who died, and they're going to talk through me. And she's like, are you for real? And I'm like, yeah, 100% for real. I need you to take this seriously. I need you to look dead into my eyes. So she's looking in my eyes. I'm going through all these movements. And then I'm like, okay, I feel something. I feel someone inside me talking to me. The letter M. And she starts bawling freaking hysterically. Tears rolling down her eyes. Her boyfriend had to hold her in her arms. Her dad just recently passed away. His name was Marvin. That was not a good experience for me, Teddy. Dave Sharapan. Dave Sharapan
well done,
cares.
Dude. You made a lady re-grieve. That's awesome, dude. So there's a great South Park. You know, that's all I'm going to say. There's a great South Park. If you're a South Park fan, that involves reading people, cold reading. That's hilarious. I think it's called The Biggest Douche in the Universe. That's the name of the episode. Yes. Dave Sharapan, how are you today? You're not the biggest douche in the universe.
Second.
Number 2 behind Prez. I'm just trying to keep up. My God, I get dialed in a little bit before, and I get to hear the lead in, and the guy's talking to dead people, making people cry at parties. I mean, he's staying in character, that's for sure. I don't even know where to begin. You want actionable info every week, and you're coming with a story about telling somebody something at a party and making women cry. I don't know where even to go with this.
Yeah, Dave, you're not giving out actionable.
Question.
Dave, you're not giving out actionable info right now. All you're doing is adding to the Prez going off topic story, which Teddy wants over and done with. So actionable info. Where do we bet tonight? Dallas, Baltimore. Where's the money going? What are you hearing? Why are you wearing that hat that doesn't fit? Where are the Pittsburgh Steelers stuff all around you? But most importantly, help us with the game tonight.
So first of all, the Steelers lost. So I had to just, tone it down because the Steelers, have a little bit of a rough stretch the rest of the way. I went with the blue because they're playing Buffalo this week. The line yesterday was Steelers -2.5 before the game. If you haven't heard yet, it's Buffalo -2 now. Actionable info, they played the Bills. They had to. Who wouldn't after watching that performance? Tonight's game is interesting, Prez. That's a very good lead-in question to get us right back on topic. I know Joe, Teddy, and all of the listeners appreciate that. This line was 8.5 yesterday, and it's now 9.5, 9 in a lot of places. Big money, big steam played the Ravens, and they should, right? This is a Ravens get-right game. Dallas has been the get-right team for a lot of people, I think. So I kind of agree with the play. It's not my thing. You want actionable info? There's your actionable info for the game tonight. I don't know about the total. I can't help you with the total, Prez. That's all you. You've been all over the place with these totals. I heard you've been, you have live and die with the, over one night or first game, under the second game. I can't even keep up with you in these totals, for goodness sakes. But I know that tonight's game, 45, that's a tough number.
We're talking, of course, with Dave Sharapan, veteran odds maker, both here in Las Vegas and in the global world. Dave's been doing this for the better part of the last, 25 years or so. And we love having him on the show every Tuesday because he can break down things from perspective behind the counter that very few have. That's why we like having Dave on. It's like we're having Arthur Caesar on the show on Wednesdays, like where we have Chris Andrews on the show last week. Veteran guys who can tell us with authority what's going on the other side of the counter. So let's take a look. Well, real quick, last night's games, it didn't look like it was either one was a huge result for the house. Was it is it a big decision or not a big decision for Monday Night Football this week?
Compared to, normal games, I guess, not as much. But I mean, you saw the line move in the Washington and Steeler game. It opened 10, it closed 6. So one of those rare cases where the book needs the favorite, even with the teasers and everything else, probably didn't work out so well. The other game, forget it. The steam, everybody chased the Niners all the way to the end. Closed for, had Buffalo on top, -2, -2.5. Closed San Francisco -1.5. Even the total got ticked down under. It went over. And Buffalo was the right side of that game. Maybe halfway through the first quarter, maybe by the end of the first quarter, you could see it. That was an in-game betting dream, and you got a lot of value on Buffalo. So I don't know how big of a result it is. I mean, it's crazy. When there's 2 games on Monday night, you kind of split the handle. You don't get the one single game that you get on Sunday night, the one single game that you get on Thursday night, and usually on Monday night, that you get a huger, a more big handle than you do on, the typical Minnesota-Jacksonville game on Sunday, obviously. I think yesterday kind of split it up because, especially out west, it started so early.
So I want to talk a little bookmaker theory here, because you talked about how there's big move, the 2 big point spread moves. It was nothing but wise guy money on San Fran and nothing but wise guy money on the Washington football team yesterday. And both games featured significant line moves from the opener. But most books don't cater to wise guy bettors. Most books cater to recreational bettors. Did the average book in Vegas get slapped around last night with those games? Did they make out, or did the public just get beaten in both of them and that was that? Or did they split? You see what I'm saying? I mean, we talk about the bigger market moves versus the actual individual casinos and bookmakers, and it doesn't feel like books lost a whole lot of money last night, even with the big line moves.
No, I don't think books lost money. Listen, the NFL's been a dream the last couple of weeks. I mean, for books, like who's winning? That's what I want to know. I mean, when you sit and watch the results and the games come down to, a play at the end. I mean, the Houston game, he fumbles right on the goal line. That prevents the game from going over and Houston covering against Indy. You see it now every week. The games are getting harder. The lines are getting tougher. And trying to find winners is hard. So I don't think many books lost. I mean, but books, don't lose that often anyway. In the NFL, for sure, that's the best market for the books. That's why there's the most handle. And I mean, everybody's looking for actionable info and steam sides and strong moves on totals and things like that. You got to find winners. That's hard enough. So yeah, books did okay. I think books are just fine leading up to tonight when they're going to get whacked with favorite and over. I mean, there's no doubt that that's what's coming tonight. And the Ravens are going to be the first leg of teasers and the beginning of money line parlays. The books will need Dallas tonight, ideally to win, but to cover. Any one of the boys that I know will be happy to sign for that right now.
Dave Sharapan, everybody. And Dave, I got a question for you, but I just got to drink some coffee first.
Is that what's in there? Oh my God.
That was good.
Is anyone
coffee,
else
dude.
watching? We got this thing live on Twitter now, too. I saw it pop up. Prez, I don't know if people are ready for what goes on here on Tuesdays.
Dave, stop talking, dude. Stop talking. I'm going to flex again. You want a chest flex?
You understand, Dave?
Dave, I'm going to stop. Dave, I'm going to throw some games at you. You just let us know. Let us know if you've heard anything. We're going to start Green Bay, Detroit, -7.5, 55. Heard anything betting wise?
Nothing there yet. Detroit coming off a win in Chicago in a game which I was surprised that Chicago was that big of a favorite, and the move came on Detroit. Green Bay continues to cash tickets for bettors. This is going to be one, I'm sure Ralph has something coming with divisional games and home teams getting points. Something's coming there. If it isn't, he can find it. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lions be a play.
Tampa Bay -6.5 versus Minnesota, a total of 52. I gotta believe there's going to be some wise action on Minnesota. What are you hearing?
Nothing yet. Again, I think you're probably right. There's going to be that's the only people that are going to be betting Minnesota, though. I mean, they barely beat Jacksonville at home in overtime. Tampa's coming off a bye. Oh my goodness. This is going to be the biggest teaser game, money line parlay number. I will not be surprised if this is the most bet side of the week, Tampa Bay.
Are there any NFL games that you've seen early week action that stand out in terms of, again, who the wise guys are likely to support, or is it a light marketplace so far?
Yeah, it's with everything with COVID, nobody's showing their hand early. The only ones that are the games like the Buffalo play, where the line just wasn't right, and the results may have indicated that it needed to be flipped. So they flipped it for you. They played it early. The only other one, let's see, I have here is no, they didn't even play. They're going to play the Bengals against Dallas after tonight. That's probably a little indication that one's going to not be what it is. It's Dallas -3.5 or 4 on the road. It's not going to be that when we wake up tomorrow. You should probably grab the Bengals if you're interested in Cincinnati and Dallas, which I'm not sure many people are, but they all count the same. Winners all count the same, whether you play, the sexy Chiefs or, the Bengals. They get you to the window.
Yeah, the Bengals have now dropped in terms of my power ratings. They're at the Jets level now. So if you want Cincy, it's actionable info. Dave says this line's higher than it is, but you're betting a bad team in a game they're going to have to compete with no quarterback and no cornerbacks. Although, let's see what Dallas looks like tonight before we get too excited about fading Cincy. Let's shift over to the college ranks. We've certainly seen this season in college football, the action is coming much later in the week than it normally does with the COVID situation. Has the overall handle down in college football, or is it just the money's coming in fast and furious later in the week and before kickoff in a way that it didn't a year or two ago?
Well, we have challenges here in Vegas just in general with people coming. And so the money is down for sure. Volume is down. I think it's just, the uncertainty every week of games being canceled. The NFL is not, actually canceling games. It's just guys are sitting out and affecting the lines. Games are being postponed. So many guys have made plays early in the season and had really good numbers. I was just down at the South Point last week, right before the show, when we did the show last week, and I saw some guys who all were holding Maryland tickets against Michigan with great numbers, and the game wasn't played. So they were beyond aggravated, and I totally, and part of this gig is listening to people's bad beats as well as bets that were made that don't even get played.
Tell Teddy that.
I think. Well,
Teddy doesn't listen to my bad beats. Literally,
you have
last
four
night I texted.
When you have four bad beats,
Teddy doesn't get paid enough.
Bad beats anymore.
Dave, I'm so used to Teddy not listening to my bad beats. I literally texted him last night. Damn, they gave Washington a free field goal. And then below it, I wrote, Teddy, don't engage. Because I wanted to let him off the hook.
It's pretty much understood.
Teddy, you got
it's pretty much understood that you don't reply to those, Prez. Like after a while, you just assume you're not getting a response. If you do, then it's a big dog price. Well, what we do is make numbers all the time. You're a huge dog to get a response in that situation.
And as a bookmaker, what you do when they start telling you bad beat stories, you nod your head and go, "Ooh, that was tough. Ooh, yeah, that was tough."
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
always sympathize. You nod, like you look like you're
guys,
engaged.
let's get back.
And then you get a phone call and you got to go. That's usually how it ends.
Dave, let's
no,
get back
Lawrence,
to the,
no, you don't get to cut me off, bro.
Information.
I have one question about today.
You just broad me?
I sit there and let you blah, blah, blah about some story about God knows what stories you tell. When I'm speaking with the Oddsmaker, one of our featured guests, you just shut your little trap for a minute and let the grown-ups talk.
Hey,
Dave,
enough with that nonsense.
Is there any actionable
guy.
information for college hoops this evening? Anything that stands out to you where there's been sharp money one way or the other for today in college basketball?
Man, you tell me what's going on with college basketball. It's so interesting to me because you see so much volatility in the market. I haven't. It's a little early for me in the morning to be looking at the college basketball. I'll take a look at it in a little while, and maybe I'll tweet you something or shoot you a text. But there's some good games. I mean, North Carolina, Iowa is 3. That's a really good game, and I think there's going to be a play on the dog. Like, why wouldn't there be? Illinois Duke is 3.5, 4. The early indications are some of the books that I'm talking to and looking at is also a play on the dog. So those are the two big games that I was looking at. I was going to ask you, Teddy, do you ever remember Michigan being such a big underdog ever in the history of Michigan football? 30 points, even if they're, as bad as they are, it's Ohio State, Michigan, and it's 30 points. I've already seen it tick down to 29, which I'm not saying is the right side yet or not because it's only Tuesday. But what the heck is that line?
That line tells us where Michigan is compared to Ohio State this year.
Yeah, bro.
It's not close.
Hey,
it's there's the programs that are on pretty disparate tracks right now. The spread's warranted. That's where my power ratings have it. Right? When you're north of 4 touchdowns, it is what it is. You want the dog?
Not yet.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Exactly.
I don't think so.
That's exactly the. Not
I don't
so
think
much.
so.
Okay, Roz. We got to call it a segment, not a show. Dave, I give you a 6.89 out of 7, so that's pretty high rating. Please never return with that hat. Oh, there you go, looking like Johnny Detroit. Get out of here, my brother. Thanks so much. Hey, what's your Twitter handle? Give it out to everyone.
At SportsBK can sing. Follow along on Twitter. This one, after this show, I'm definitely going to have to tweet something. So I already got you once, Prez. I'm going to get you again later. Follow along.
Oh, you know what, brother? I love you. You are the best. Now get out of here. We're right back, everybody. Teddy's big game breakdown. More arguing between us and Ralph.
Founded in 1957, the Gold Sheet is the country's longest-running sports betting newsletter. Each week, the Gold Sheet team delivers analysis on NFL and college football games, along with NBA and college basketball matchups. Just for $15 a week, you get 6 key release selections, updated power ratings on every team, key betting angles for the week, and point spread logs for all NFL and college football teams. Get started now by going to goldsheet.com.
It's time for Big Game Breakdown. Let's talk Tuesday night football. You betcha. Tuesday night NFL. Right now, we're looking at the Ravens, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen. Let's call it 9. There's a mix of 8.5s and 9s out there on Baltimore. Total 45. There are 45.5s popping up on tonight's game. And let me start with this. This is not an easy handicap. All right. We haven't seen Dallas since Thanksgiving. All right. And the last time we saw them, you want to talk about a fourth quarter meltdown? That was a fourth quarter meltdown, 1-score game. Instead of punting, they decided to do an ill-fated fake punt from deep in their own territory, and the route was on, blown out in that contest. That was a long time ago. Now, since that time, they've had some time off. They've also lost their best offensive lineman in Zach Martin, which is a big concern for a team that is already on their backup quarterback that has all kinds of issues defensively. Dead last in the NFL in points allowed per game. And without Zach Martin, who was basically the catalyst for their win, their only recent win at Minnesota, it's a huge, huge, huge loss on the offensive line for Dallas. The question is, what Baltimore do we get? And you read the quotes from Harbaugh. Quote, I know there are going to be questions about the guys who are coming off the COVID list and whether they'll play or not. It's a medical decision. I'm not going to comment on any of that. Okay. We don't talk about who comes off that list ever until the transactions are official on the NFL wire. That's our policy. He was asked if Lamar Jackson had practiced. Quote, I'm not commenting on any of it. I'm not. I'm just going to stick with our policy on that. So we have a head coach who's not being very forthcoming. We know who's off the COVID list and who's on the COVID list. And a bunch of guys came off. You dig a little deeper. Greg Roman, offense coordinator, has said that Lamar Jackson has been, quote, fully engaged in virtual meetings. Roman. So he's really lockstep each and every step through. The only thing he can't do, obviously, is be here at the facility and actually take part in it. But mentally, he's right on it. So you have one team that lost their best offensive lineman, and without him, it's going to affect their offense. You have the other team who has a quarterback who, even though the coach isn't saying it, doesn't look like he's practiced a whole lot over the last couple of weeks. Under 45.5, that's the one that makes sense to me in this one. And that's the way I lean for Tuesday night football. There you have it, Prez. Big game breakdown. Lean under in the Ravens and the Cowboys.
Thanks, brah. That was really, really good. Anyway, guys, you're watching Wager Talk Today. Thanks so much, all of you, for being here. It's $2 Tuesdays over at WagerTalk.com and Sports Memo. Rocky Atkinson, the handicapper, featured $2 Tuesday handicapper at Sports Memo, and of course Steve Merril, as we spoke about at Wager Talk. Ralph Michaels joining us. Excited to have you, Ralph. Look, man, I want to publicly apologize on behalf of Teddy for making your segment super tight yesterday. You got a big window today, brother. Regale us with the best info in the world.
Well, I'm just going to mention this. What a day for college hoops. North Carolina, Iowa, Creighton, Kansas, Illinois, Duke. And for those that are college basketball fans, I want to let everyone know we started the Wager Talk Daily College Basketball Show. Joe Ranieri gets out from behind the producer's desk and hosts the show. I'm on daily. Dave Koken's on today, and we'll have guests across the board. We're breaking down all three of those games today, so you guys make sure you tune into the College Basketball Show. A little bit of fun, a lot of good basketball knowledge, and it's a must-watch. And I'm sure Prez and Teddy, we're going to be opening it up where we have 2, 3, 4, 5 guests, and I'm sure we'll see you guys both on in the upcoming weeks. So excited about that. Teddy, I sort of got a wow angle here. It's one of those high percentage angles, not many chances, and it applies to Appalachian State this week. So here are the parameters. You had to lose as a non-Saturday home favorite, and now you're an away favorite or 3 or more. Now, my thought is this. A non-Saturday home favorite knows they're likely on national TV, gets the exposure. Perhaps they take that loss a little bit harder. But since 1986, teams that lose a non-Saturday game as a home favorite and are now an away favorite of 3 or more have gone 22-4-1 against the spread, 84.6%. And I always like looking at the average cover. When you have a 27-game sample size and the average cover is almost by 10 points per game, that's an extra notch in the up column for me as far as the angle of the day. Do I get the Teddy covers thumbs up?
Of course it does. It makes a ton of sense. And again, when you talk about those non-Saturday games, you talk about big TV matchups. So the team loses as a home favorite in a big TV matchup. Now they got to lay chalk on the road the next week. It's a clear flat spot in the results, Ralph. When you're talking about, and again, it's not a million games, but it's enough games to say take this seriously. So I'm with you on the fade of the App State Mountaineers this week. It makes perfect sense.
Well, I was doing some NFL reading yesterday, and I got to Tampa Bay, and boy, it's all rosy down there. You did listen to Brady, and we are off a bye, and we are ready to dominate. So what do? I go to my database, and I wanted to look at how NFL teams do after their bye, week by week. So I'm not taking anything into consideration. I'm not taking home off a bye, away off a bye, favorite off a bye, loss off a bye. Joe, do you have that chart for us? And take a look. Now, you guys, I do color code, okay? People call me queer sometimes, but I like visualizing green as a positive for ATS, red is a negative for ATS, and when you look over to the right, blue is the sky, so that means over. Brown is dirt, that means the under. So you guys can visualize what I see. Now, when I thought about, do later buys help an NFL team? Take a look, Teddy and Prez, from game 9, 10, 11, and 12. Those are all negative ATS records. 45%, 47%, 47%, 28%. These are all since 2010. So while teams sometimes come out and say, yes, oh boy, we're going to be fresh off this late season bye, history has shown us that's not the case. Take a look to the right chart to the right side of the chart. Look at games 10, 11, 12, and 13. Those are all huge under weeks. So teams off a late season bye, it seems that the defense is the one that's come out to prepare. You see a 35% over-under mark, a 41, a 42, and 0-2 in week number 3. So again, not wow numbers, but at least now you know when you're reading an NFL article and people talk about, it's a positive or a negative to be off a late season bye, at least against the spread. Perhaps Vegas adjusts a little bit more. It's been a negative and it's been an underlean since 2010.
So the under to me makes more sense than the side does. When you're talking about teams that have a late season bye week, you're talking about teams that are likely to be a step or two fresher than their opponents. And defensively, that's going to stand out. And that's hence the under that makes sense. When it comes to the side, however, and let's be very clear, we don't see, there's nobody on that list coming off a week 13 bye playing in week 14. All right. So it's very rare that you see a team coming off a bye after Thanksgiving. So I would take that short sample size on the ATS struggles of the teams this late in the season with a big grain of salt. There's not enough games in there for me to be overly concerned. And I think given the weirdness of this year, I think teams that have a bye week, that had a bye week last week, at this late stage of the season, might be better prepared for a good stretch run than in your average season.
Yeah, Ralph,
yesterday,
I got to tell you, Ralph, I got to tell you, I absolutely love that chart. Please tweet that chart out, guys. Follow Ralph at Cal Sports LV. That stuff is gold, man. Okay, I'll shut up now.
And again, we don't always have wow number, guys, but at least we're answering those questions that people often just assume, and that's the key. If it's 50-50, if it's a positive as a negative, just knowing what those hearsay things are the most important thing. And guys, I'll tell you what we talked about Borman yesterday, giving out a plus 185. Yeesh. Thank you very much. A winner here at the Friends of Wager Talk. And the Friends of Wager Talk today, how about the gold sheet, guys? If you haven't seen the gold sheet write-ups for college basketball, think about a Volkswagen Beetle, the old gold sheet, and think about a brand new Volkswagen now. The write-ups they have are not only awesome for college basketball, they include the ATS records, they include the power rating records, they include the last 3 games for each opponent, they include the home and a road and the points for and points against. And I picked one out today from, again, Friends of Ralph Play, the gold sheet. It's St. Mary's and UTEP under the total. We know St. Mary's has a slow pace. UTEP's talking about going to Bryson Williams, their big 6'8" guy in the middle, but he's struggled the last couple games. UTEP's actually playing their first Division I opponent. They actually trailed against a team called Sewell Ross State at halftime their last game out. So it's SULROSS. Now, I thought I've heard of every Division II and NAI school, but that was a new one for me. So Sewell Ross State, a shout out to you. It's the first time you're ever getting mentioned on Wager Talk today. But Friends of Ralph Play, courtesy of the gold sheet tonight, UTEP and St. Mary's under the total.
Ralph Michaels, everybody, and just to clarify, the old gold sheet was like a Volkswagen. The new gold sheet is like a Bugatti, not a new Volkswagen.
Farfignugan? Wasn't that the commercial?
Yeah.
Far from puking.
Great show, boys. Listen, everybody, I promised you all that we were going to congratulate Teddy on a life-changing event that happened to him this weekend. I don't have all the information yet, so we're going to have to come back tomorrow for that. Joe and I are putting it together. We did have Teddy. Dude, I'm not even kidding. I hired a private detective to follow you around on Saturday. It wasn't hard. He just stood outside your house.
I was gonna say,
I got. I'm
a shut-in, Prez. I'm a virtual shut-in, dude. A private.
Yeah.
If you're paying anyone to watch me, it's a good deal because I sit at home and watch games and handicap. Man.
I literally called your son. I'm like, yo, what's he doing? He's like, hey, sitting on the couch. I'm like, it's been 2 hours. What's he doing now? Sitting on the couch. What's he doing now? He did take a pee recently. I got pictures. This is going to be big. I am so excited to tell you.
Joe, stop lighting the fire under him, Joe.
Hey, guys, that's the show. Ralph Michaels, thanks so much for joining us. Dave Sharapan, you are the best. Love having you. That hat was terrible. Steve Merril, Steve's so good at this. Teddy, it was a pleasure. Guys in the chat room, thanks for being part of our family. As you can see, I am very active in the chat room. This is the favorite hour of my day, and that even includes my working out. Tomorrow's show, Las Vegas Chris. Also, Ralph and I and Matt tomorrow, the NFL presidential address. Teddy, take us home.
Sure. Tomorrow's show includes both Las Vegas Chris and Arthur DeCesar and Ralph Michaels, like we have each and every weekday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Hang out with Prez and I and our guests. We'll be back again in 23 hours. Enjoy the games and good luck tonight.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.